Hey guys, so today's video is going to be a bit about more about mental health and about my journey. Since my last video, what I put on last week, I've had a great response about asking a lot of questions. People saying like they want to learn more and talk about their own problems to me, which is exactly what I wanted. But a lot of the questions, a lot of people have been asking, they've been asking if I could talk about more about my journey and how I became ill, how what it was like when I was in services and how I came out of it, what was the turning point. So that's what I'm gonna be kind of talking about today. So like I said on my last video, I begun to suffer from anorexia at 15 years old. Um, Before I became ill, I was quite a stocky, chunky lad. I was built like a rugby player, just purely because I think my granddad was a player, a professional rugby player for St Helens. So I kind of had his genes in me. I think I was destined to be a rugby player of some sort. But I'd always been sporty, but I was always a chunky lad. Um, so, but yeah, like I was always known to be the human dustbin. So if anybody had any scraps going, like I'd always clean them up, and I'd get off the bus at night and go and get a chippy, and then come home and have my tea. And I was just a, I just enjoyed my food. And then I just thought like all my friends were dead skinny, and well, not skinny, but like they were slim and they were very athletic. Like a lot of them played football for the school football team, and I thought like I want to be like them. Like I want to be athletic. I want to be able to look good, and it was all to do with girls. I had very low confidence when it came to like relationships and trying to chat up girls, and that was just because I perceived myself as not being good enough looking compared to all my mates. Um, so I thought, oh, it's going to have to be a time for a change. And I thought it was summer holidays in year 10, and I thought, right, this is the time to do it now. So um, I was a good tennis and golf player. So I played a lot of that over the summer holidays. Um, and I naturally slimmed out over the holidays, and that I think I had a massive growth spurt as well as playing them sports. So I naturally like slimmed out anyway. But I went back to school in year 11, and on the first day, people were saying, "Wow, Ben, like you're looking really well. Like you're looking like good now. You've lost a bit of weight and stuff." And I thought, right, okay, so if I lose a bit more weight, then I'll get more of these comments, and then that might make girls fancy me or whatever. So I decided to join a gym and start just doing basic cardio exercises and do a bit of swimming here and there. And then, so I started that and I lost a bit more weight. And again, the comments were flowing. People coming up to me, girls saying, "Oh, you're looking really well now," and all this. So I thought, right now the girls are cottoning onto it, so I need to lose a bit more weight. But then it just became a gradual obsession. I'd begun to like stop eating chocolate bars and crisp, and I decided to swap it for just bananas and fruit and more healthier options. And it was only just a healthy change. It weren't anything drastic. But then it became an obsession. Then I decided, right, I need to cut out snacks because I need to lose a bit more weight. So I was on 3 meals a day, and then it went from 3 meals a day to 2 meals a day, and then 2 meals a day to 1 meal a day, and then eventually it was 1 meal a day to no meals a day, and it was just a gradual but drastic change. Like like my mates were asking me, "Oh, why are you not eating at dinner?" And I was like, "Oh no, I'm not hungry today." Like, but when I'm saying that to them every day, like they're thinking, right, something's going on here because he normally loves eating food and he's not eating anything. And then I'd make my packed lunches in the morning, and then I'd walk up to the bus station, to the bus stop, and then I'd throw my packed lunches in the bin. And it was kind of becoming like an obsession around not eating because I thought, well, the more weight I lose, then the more comments I'm going to get. And that was the drive, really. But the worst thing about it was I had to lie to my family and friends. Like, I just had to say, "Oh yeah, I'm not eating," and then I had to throw away my dinner and bring back empty food wrappers to prove to my mum and dad that I'd eaten. Like, so, but then the weight began to drop like quite drastically, really. But then on top of that, I began to become obsessed with exercise. Now, exercise, I was doing like 10 minutes on each machine and stuff, and then it ended up I didn't have enough energy to actually do the cardio exercises, so I jumped into the pool then, and then swimming became my sport, as well as playing tennis and golf still on top of that, but my performance was dropping because obviously I had no energy because I wasn't eating properly. But then I just felt like there was something in me that was making me do these things that I knew I couldn't do because I had no energy, but something was just pushing me and pushing me to do it. And eventually I was like on one yogurt a day, doing 150 lengths in the swimming pool a day. But I knew deep down that this wasn't right and there was something not right in my head, but I couldn't put a pin on it, and I was too scared to say anything because I thought, oh my God, people think I'm weird. Like, why do I want to lose weight? Like, it's gone too far. But I was too scared to say I need help because I didn't know if there was help out there, and I didn't know. I thought my friends and family would think I'm a weirdo, so I just kept it to myself, and then it just became so sudden. Like, I just totally cut out food, and I was going for 2 weeks without food, and then I decided to join up to the Manchester 10k run and do that, and I completed that in a good time, but off the back of no energy. Like, I was 10 days without food before that run, and it's a blessing that I didn't pass out in the middle of it. But that's what I mean. Like, I didn't think I had an illness at the time, but thinking back now, I should have listened to the people around me who were concerned instead of listening to my own head. But that's the illness. It's not me. It's the illness, and that's where I think the biggest misperspective is, like, because misinterpretation. Sorry, because people think that it's the person, but it's not actually the person. It's the illness inside the person, and that's where people can't separate the two. And I'm guilty of that myself because I didn't think I had an illness. It was only till I actually got told that I have anorexia that I actually realised, like, yeah, this isn't Ben. Like, Ben, the real Ben wouldn't starve himself. The real Ben loves to eat. The real Ben, loves his exercise, but also eats to so that he can exercise and stuff. And it was just kind of the irrational thinking begun. So I managed to do the 10k run. And then completed my GCSEs. But at the time, like, I became such, because now I know that at the time I thought it was just me, but I became a perfectionist. And my GCSEs were coming up. I was putting so much pressure on myself in my GCSE period. I had to get 11 A stars, and before I got ill, I couldn't give a monkeys about education. I wasn't really a clever lad, and I didn't really give a monkeys about school. Like, I used to mess about in school, and I didn't like school at all. But since my eating problems started, I became more of a perfectionist. So I used to sit in my room for 12 hours a day, constantly studying all my notes for my GCSEs, and that was my day for the whole study leave period. And eventually, like, I'd learnt like 400 A4 pages off by heart just because I felt like I had to sit there and learn it, and it couldn't be a minute before 12 hours, and it couldn't be a minute after 12 hours. It had to be 12 hours, and that's the OCD kicking in then. So I studied and studied and studied and put myself under so much pressure, and then I managed to get through my GCSE period fine. And then obviously, due to finishing my GCSEs, then my mum and dad booked us a holiday to go to Spain. Went to Spain, and it was just a nightmare holiday. It was the first time, obviously, my mum and dad had seen me without my top on, and I remember the first day my dad put sun cream on me. I took my top off, and he just burst out into tears because he couldn't believe how skinny I was. But I couldn't see that, and every time I look in a mirror, like, I just see a big fat person. And that's, again, the illness, like, manipulating my own thoughts around my body image, because people around me could say, Ben, you're so skinny, like, you really need to stop. But I looked in the mirror and thought, no, what they're going on about, like, I'm fat. When in actual fact, I wasn't fat. I was emaciated, but I couldn't see it. So yeah, that holiday was like a bit of a nightmare, really. It wasn't really the best of holidays. But whilst on holiday, my mum and dad booked me in to see a private doctor to overlook my health and stuff. I come back and I went to go and see a private doctor, and straight away, without even doing really any tests, he sent me to CAMS for an assessment. So I went for the assessment at CAMS, and I had my assessment, and then they took me into the weighing in room. So they didn't weigh me at first; they just did my blood pressure and pulse, and they didn't even bother weighing me. And they were like, "Right, you're being admitted to hospital," which was the paediatric ward at Bolton Hospital. They were like, "You're going to have to be put on bed rest. Like your pulse is 16 beats per minute, and you could drop dead at any moment." So that was like, that hit me like a ton of bricks. I thought, oh my god, like what have I done to myself? Like this isn't what I wanted. Like I didn't plan this, and I thought, oh, it's gone too far. But it wasn't me. It was the illness. Like it wasn't me who took it too far. It was the illness who had made me take it too far. And the illness will not stop at any measures. Like that illness, once you get that an anorexia, it will carry on until you die. It's the blunt fact basically, because I would have died if I hadn't been took into that CAMS assessment that day. I got moved over to a paediatric ward, and as soon as I was assessed by the consultants on the paediatric ward, they told my mum and dad I had a night to live. And that's how far the illness takes you. It's not your friend, it's your enemy. A friend doesn't put you on death's bed, a friend doesn't make you starve yourself, a friend doesn't make you isolate yourself. That illness is an enemy, and you don't want to listen to it, and that's the problem. Like, it's so easy to listen to it because it makes you believe all these things. It makes you think, oh yeah, I'm going to look really good when I lose some weight, and when in actual fact it knows what it's doing. It's manipulating you. It wants you to make you feel like you look good, so then when it gets to that point, it's grabbed hold of you, and it won't let you go. So yeah, I was admitted onto a general ward, and then that first night was hell. Every time I went to sleep, my heart shut down, and I was restarted with the jump things, and I didn't have any sleep that night. And when they told mum and dad like he's got a night to live, like I could tell by the faces they were trying to make the most of every minute that they had with me, because they thought that I wasn't going to make it through the night. But for some unknown reason, I did fight it through the night, and I did make it past the first night. Then I made it past the second night, made it past the third night. But because my body was in starvation mode, weight was dropping off me still. So, and I was eating, but wasn't eating anywhere near enough. The nurses were just giving me bits of food just to get me through the day, but it wasn't enough, and I was still dropping weight. And the doctors had to come to a decision, because if I lost any more weight, then obviously my health would be put more at risk. So they decided to put a nose tube in me. But as soon as they decided to put the nose tube in me, I thought, oh my god, I can't do this. Like, all the calories that are being pumped in me, I'm going to get fat, I'm going to get ugly, my thigh gap's going to go, I'm going to start getting fatty bits under my arms and stuff, and the illness was just punishing me and punishing me and punishing me, even though it was out. I hadn't chose to do that, it was the doctors making me do that, but the illness was making me feel so guilty, and coming up with all these thoughts about how I'm going to get fat and on all this, and I thought, oh, I can't cope with this. But I had no choice. Like, it was a matter of life and death. So they fitted the nose tube, and it was the next 4 weeks were just hell, because I was just constantly being fed up and fed up and fed up. And now I can look back and think, yeah, they needed to do that to save my life. But at the time, I just couldn't hack it. Like, I couldn't deal with the thoughts of all this food going in me. So I decided to start exercising secretly in the toilets. I was doing like 1,000 press-ups and 1,000 sit-ups in the toilets, like throughout the day, not all at once, but just so I was doing it. I was breaking it up so that it didn't become obvious like I was in the toilet for ages. And then I was eating my meals supervised, which again I hated, because obviously I was eating, and that's not what the illness wanted. And then yeah, it was come to the 6th week, and then my psychiatrist and the CAMS people come to me and said, right, you've got 2 decisions. It's going to be, you either have to come to the outpatient department on CAMS, but you have to come every day, and all your meals will be supervised, or you can go to an inpatient unit, which specialises in eating disorders. And I thought, it just was a massive, like, it just overcame me. Like, I couldn't hack the thought of being in mental health services as an outpatient or inpatient, I thought, I'm not mental, like, this isn't me, like, what is going on, like. And then it was only till the doctor from the inpatient unit came to assess me, and she sat me down and she said, Ben, you have got anorexia nervosa, and you are really poorly. And it was only then when I realised, like, I have actually got an illness. It's not me, it's an illness. And it was explained to me what anorexia is, and how it manipulates you, and how it becomes, like, overtakes you, and how it can put your health at such severe risk. So, and that's when I realised that, yeah, I have got an illness. So I decided to take the option of going to an inpatient unit. Now, people would think, oh, why did you do that? You could have gone back home, and you could have, like, got your life back to some kind of normality. But I just thought, like, I've put my mum and dad through enough stresses as it is, and I don't want to go home and go through all that again. So I decided to go as an inpatient, informally. So I went to a unit called the McGuinness unit at Prestwich, and it was an adolescence unit. And don't get me wrong, like, it's not what I wanted, and it's, and I thought, oh my god, I'm going to a crazy house and all this. But I thought, no, like, I need to go, like, it's not fair on my mum and dad. I wanted to go as well, just to get away from everybody and everything. Like, all this illness had happened in my hometown, it had happened at home as well, and I didn't want all them memories coming back to me and making me even worse than I already was. So I went to the inpatient unit on an informal basis. The first 3 months they're all right, to be fair. Like, I walked in and I thought it would be just literally eating disorders, but it wasn't. It was a mixture. I lived with people who had schizophrenia, bipolar, depression, hypermania, and you know what? Like, everybody perceives an inpatient unit to be full of crazy people, and that's what I did as well before I actually went in that unit. But coming out of that unit, when I went in that unit and lived with them people, every single person in that unit was the most loveliest, caring, thoughtful person, who all had their own issues. They literally were normal people with a mental health problem. They weren't crazy, they weren't in straitjackets, they weren't going around trying to kill people. They were all normal people, and this is the massive misconception about these mental health units. Yeah, don't get me wrong, they've got mental health issues, but that don't mean they're mental. They've got issues that can be sorted, and they're not mental. So, but I'm guilty of judging them mental people in the mental health units before I actually was in one. And that's what I thought it was. I thought people would be locked up in straitjackets. I thought they're going to be kicking off every 5 minutes. It's going to be nurses walking around with injections to sedate you. And you know what? I walked in and it was literally just like a youth club. There were groups of people running about, playing football, watching films, doing music, doing art. And I thought, right, it's not nice, and it's not home, but I can do this. And then the first 3 months were fine. The support workers supervised me eating, so I'd have someone sat with me eating at all times, just so, like, to make sure that I would eat. And that kind of helped me, because I could put the blame on the support workers. I wasn't guilty for making the decision to eat myself. I could put the guilt on the support workers, because I could say to my illness, well, they're making me eat. It's not me, it's them. So 3 months were fine, and then my weight gradually began to, like, creep up and increase, and I couldn't deal with weight gain. And I thought, I'm going to get fat, and they're trying to fatten me up and all this. So I thought, I can't do this. And it was only till the last weigh-in and of them 3 months when I gained about 2 kilos, which is about £4 in a week. And I thought, oh, I can't cope with this. My illness was just pounding me. The voice was pounding me with guilt thoughts, telling me I'm worthless, telling me I'm a fat mess, telling me nobody loves me. And I thought, I can't cope with this. Like, I couldn't cope with it at all. So I just sat in my room and thought, are things going to get better? No, they're not. I think, do people love me? No, they don't. Is there any point of carrying on? No, there's not. But I know now that it wasn't me again, it was my illness. So I decided to get my iPod headphones and wrap them around my neck and I decided to ligature and hang myself in the toilet, and I nearly succeeded, but they cut me down, and like people will probably think, oh my god, like he's hung himself and all this, but I just thought at the time, like, I can't carry on doing this. It's too much. Like, this voice will not go away in my head, and I couldn't cope. Like, I tried every option. Like, the staff had given me every coping strategy, and I just couldn't do it. And I just thought, this is my life now, and I don't want a life where I'm just bullied into doing things what my head's telling me to do. So that's the reason why I tried to take my own life. But yeah, I was cut down, and I was restrained and put in a special room called seclusion, and I was obviously injected medication to try and like just calm me down, and they did save my life at the end of the day on that day, but then it gave me more of a strive to kill myself basically, because I thought, well, if they're not, then I need to do it sometime. Like, they're not going to let me do it. Like, so I'm just going to have to force my way through them all to get to something what I can kill myself with. So every time I came out of seclusion, like, I would grab at anything, any object, anything, and try and secrete it so that they couldn't get it off me. And I just ended up at round 1 again. So I was back in seclusion, not given any free time to come out of it and walk around, because I was such a massive risk to myself. And then it became to a point where they wouldn't let me have any items with me what I could potentially self-harm with. So I decided to bite a big chunk out of my arm, so that I could bleed to death. And that was the day when it was make or break, really. And unfortunately, I picked the option of breaking. I just had I had no energy, I had no motivation, I didn't care about anybody, and I didn't want to get better. So I bit a massive chunk out of my arm, loads of blood. It managed to stop, and etc. And then it was only then till a support worker sat down with me and said, like, Ben, look at the state of you, you're a mess. Like, you need to sort yourself out, you need to get your head together, you should be out there with your mates, going to college parties, getting on with your life, but at the moment you're just stuck in a massive rut what you need to get yourself out of, which nobody else can help you with. So, and it was only then till I realised, like, you know what, like, what am I doing to myself? Like, I'm biting holes out of my arms, like, who does that? And like, all the irrational thoughts went through my mind. I thought, this isn't me, like. And it was only then till I was able to manage to think, like, I have actually got voices in my head telling me to do these things, and it's not the Ben. Like, the real Ben wouldn't bite holes out of his arms. The real Ben wants to be at home. The real Ben wants to be with his mates, going out all the time. And it was only till then that gave me like a kick up the arse and think, right, come on, like, we need to get on with this now and get myself out here and just do it for my family. If I can't do it for myself, do it for my family, because they need me. So that was kind of the push. That was the point where I thought, the turning point where I thought, right, I can get better and I can do this. So I went out and just absolutely smashed it at all my meals. And don't get me wrong, like, it wasn't easy. Like, I wasn't able to just go out and think, right, eat, right, I'm fine now, eat again, I'm fine now. Every day of that next 9 months in that unit was hell. After biting that hole out of my arm, I was sectioned under the Mental Health Act, because I was such a big risk to myself, and I couldn't really make a decision for myself because I was so mentally unstable. So the next 9 months I just worked my arse off, and I just ate every meal, got the weight on, and it came to being discharged, and I kind of thought I was ready. So I told the doctors, like, yeah, I'm all right now, and I thought, now I've got the weight on, then I'm better. So I got discharged, and I went back into CAMS care, and then within the next 2 months, I relapsed. I lost all the weight I'd gained in hospital, and that's when I realised, like, it's not just about, anorexia is not just about getting the weight on. It's not about getting to a healthy weight. Anorexia is a mental health illness, which means it's in the mind, not just the physical state. Yeah, the mind makes your physical changes on your body, but it also has the voices and thoughts in your head. So I knew that I needed some kind of psychology help and to help cope with the thoughts in my head, because obviously they were making me lose the weight. So I did get help from CAMS, and luckily I was on literally the last chance of staying out of the unit. They were threatening me with being readmitted back into the hospital. But I thought, I can't go through that all again. Like, I've come too far to go all the way back, and that's what, during that admission, like, I must have built a tiny bit of strength in me to do that, because 12 months before that I would have relapsed and I would have gone back into hospital and I just would have gone through it all again, because I didn't care, I didn't want to get better, but I actually wanted to get better after that. And then I worked with a dietitian and worked with a psychologist and CAMS. I managed to get the weight slowly back on. And then it came up to me being 18, and obviously after 18 you can't be in CAMS care, so I got transferred to adult services, and then that's when I got a full-time job, and it was only till the full-time job where things started turning for me. Obviously, suffering from a mental health illness is hard enough, but being able to maintain a full-time job, that's pretty hard to do, as well as coping with the mental health problem. But I managed to do it. It was only an admin job, it was only an office job, it was nothing hard, but I thought, you know what, like, I can push myself now, and I started breaking little barriers what I'd built over the time of being ill, like not drinking alcohol, trying to distance myself from my mates because I didn't want to drink alcohol because of the calories. I didn't want to go out to restaurants because of the extra calories in food. I was just on a basic baseline, I was just above not being in hospital basically, and I was maintaining it luckily. So, but then I thought, I can't go on like this. A year down the line, I was still in adult services, and I'd not really progressed anywhere. And I just thought, I'm just sick of this life. Like, I want to start going to the gym with my mates. I want to start playing tennis again. I want to start socialising with my mates. I want to be able to be a normal 18-year-old and go out with my mates and have a good piss up and stuff. So I decided to just like kind of make my own decisions with the help of my dad and my family, and push myself and start increasing my intake. And yeah, don't get me wrong, it was hard, but it had to be done, because if I didn't, then I would stay in the same place as I was in, and I didn't want to do that. I wanted to start making progressive steps forward. So I just started eating little bits extra throughout the days, and the weight gradually came on and on and on and on, and we came to a point where my mind started functioning properly. And that's what got explained to me in hospital is, you can gain the weight, but you have to maintain a healthy weight for a period of time before your brain starts to function properly. And it was only till then I actually believed what the doctors said, like when I fought back, because I got to a healthy weight and I maintained that weight for about 6 months, and then my irrational thoughts started going away, and I started thinking rationally again, and I started thinking like, right, I can eat this because I'm going to the gym, and I can do this because of this, and and I wasn't actually that bothered about calories. But don't get me wrong, it was really hard, and I still had to put up with them voices in my head every day. But if I didn't do that, then I wouldn't progress anywhere in life, and I would be in the same position all the time. And that's the horrible, but literally it's a horrible thought for somebody who suffers from anorexia, because it's your worst enemy, eating more. But if you don't do it, you will never get better. And I can hand on heart say, I promise you that once you start eating more and get to a healthy weight and you maintain that healthy weight, I promise you life starts to get better. Life started to get better for me. And then I moved from the office job to a support working job in a mental health hospital. And again, I proved to myself that I could make a big change and in this case it was a big change in the career, but it was still a big change for me, for someone who suffers from severe anxiety. Like, any change is hard, but I made a massive change. And you know what? I walked into a job what I thought I'm going to be rubbish at, but then I actually thought, you know what? Like, I'm going to be that person who the staff was when I was in hospital. I'm going to be supporting people who are going through what I went through, and I can relate. I can relate to them and use my own problems to a good use, put them to good use, and help them people. So, and I thrived in that job. I got a promotion to senior, and you know what? Like, I met people in that job who pushed me in during through my recovery. Um, and two girls in particular, they kind of helped me believe in myself and believe that I'm good enough to talk to girls, and I could, and it made me build my confidence and made me give me a reason to carry on progressing and eating different foods, and like they started to help me make, eat pizza, and we always went out, and that's the kind of stuff what you need to do for your recovery. You can't just sit in the house and eat more and just keep thinking, right, if I eat this then I'll get better, if I eat this I'll get better. It's not just about food recovery is about socialising, getting back out there with your mates, meeting new people, pushing yourself in a career. It's all a big contribution to one thing, which is your recovery. So yeah, so life's good now. Like, don't get me wrong, like I'd say the last 2 years, things have really picked up for me. I'm eating foods what I thought I'd never eat. I eat pizza, I eat chips, I eat red meat, which was a massive fear of mine. I eat like fatty foods, and it's because I go to the gym now. Like, I used to cope with stress and emotions through punching walls, through self-harm, whereas now, pardon me, I actually cope with stress and emotions in the gym. Once I get in that gym, I get angry, I start punching the bags, I start pushing weights, and it makes you feel so much better because you release all them endorphins in your brain, and it makes you feel good about yourself. So now, like, I'm working with kids in residential care. I've got my own business, and that's taking off now, and I'm doing this kind of stuff, but in universities and colleges and hospitals, and like, this is what life can be for you now if you get better. Recover. The word recovery is, for a person who suffers from anorexia, is the scariest thought going, but I promise you that it's worth doing. If you recover, your life can be good. Like, I didn't think my life would ever get better, but I'm studying now and my life is good. It's not amazing. I still have my bad days, but I don't listen to the voice in my head. On a bad day, I listen to the voices, but I don't let the voices tell me what I can and can't eat. I carry on eating what I need to eat, but I'll just put up with the voices and kind of push them to the back of my head. Some days they can be intense more than others, but some days I'm able to just think, right, they're just talking nonsense, let's just forget about them and carry on with my day. And if you do have a bad day, like, you need to just keep yourself busy and do the things you love to do, whether that's just going out, doing a sport, or going out with your mates, or just ring up, like, your mate's sick and I bob down, and just try and keep yourself busy, because the more you isolate yourself, that's when the illness starts creeping back in. And that's what I've learned. Like, on my days off, sometimes, I can sit at home and I can start overthinking again, and I can start seeing the illness is creeping back in, so I go out and do something. So basically, like, I want to show people, like, where I've come from to where I am now, so that this is proof that you can do it yourself. I'm no miracle. Like, I know a lot of people who've suffered from anorexia who have been just as bad, if not worse than me, and come out on the other side and have now got amazing jobs. And so can you. You need to just think to yourself, if you're in a bad place at the moment, you need to think to yourself, what do I need to do to get better? Think of the hurdles, but don't worry about the hurdles. What's the point of worrying about something that might not happen? That is the quote of my recovery. Every time I worried about something and then I did it, I always thought, why did I worry about that? Because it's a natural part of life, but you don't need to worry about it, because you've got all the support around you. And if you're ever struggling, you just, whether you've got a good family or good friends, there's always somebody out there who will help you and sit there and listen to you. And that's sometimes all you need. All you need is somebody to sit there and for you to just vent to. I love a good vent to my mates and stuff, and I'll ring them up Sundays and say, "Can you just listen to this?" And I'll just absolutely go mad on the phone, and then it makes me feel so much better. But anorexia is a horrible illness, and I wouldn't wish it upon anybody, because once it's in your head, it's in your head, and unfortunately, I don't think you can ever properly get rid of it. I think it's just a case of coping with it, but you can cope with it. Like, you can get to a stage where you can maintain a really healthy, good life and still, unfortunately, suffer from it. And I've got ambitions for the next 5 years where, I maybe do mental health nursing or become a lecturer, and it's them things what you need to look forward to. You need to put things in place what you can look forward to, short term and long term goals. Because if you just have long term goals, you probably will never achieve it. If you have little short term ones, then it's something what you can always keep looking forward to and give you a motive to carry on. So that's me. That's my journey. It's a brief one, but it felt a lot longer than this talk has. But it shows and proves to you that you can suffer and be on death's bed and still come out on the other side and have a good life. And that's the reason why I will kind of want to do this video, because a lot of people have messaged me recently saying, I don't feel like things can ever get better, and I feel like giving up. And the first thing I say to them is, look at me and look at what I've just told you. Things do get better, and it's pointless giving up. What you're going to achieve from giving up? You just let the illness win. Let's not let the illness win. Let's not let anorexia win, and let's not let mental health illnesses win. Humans, we need to improve social care. We need to beat this stigma. Like, this stigma, I think, is the biggest problem. People don't want to come out and talk because they feel like they're going to get judged. Everybody has their own problems, even if it's just little things like they don't like the job, or they hate the boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever. It's all problems, but everybody's problems, everybody's worthy of being listened to, and especially in mental health, you need to be listened to. So please, come out and speak up. Unfortunately, the people won't come to you if you don't speak up. Then nobody will know, and that's the danger with mental health, that nobody can see. You can't see the problem. But if you come out and talk, then you will get the help you need. It might not be what your illness wants, but it's deep down, it's what you want. And, you didn't ask to become ill. The illness grabbed hold of you, saw its opportunity. And that's what you need to just kind of deflect and say, hang on a minute, I'm worthy of a good life. I'm going to push it to the back of my mind and get better, and just hold on to that thought and just think of all the good times ahead of you. So that's me done on that. But just let you know, I am pretty busy at the moment. So if it's not on exactly by Sunday, the next video, then I can only apologise for that. But I've got a lot of requests to do videos on. I think next week I'm going to do what it's like life as an inpatient. A lot of people have said, what is it like in an inpatient unit? And I know I've briefly talked about it in this one, but I want to kind of make people aware of that. People in a mental health unit, it's not crazy people. They're just nice people who've got their own problems. And there's this massive bravado at the moment about patients getting beaten up by staff, and and probably in some places they probably do. But if I didn't go into that mental health unit, then I would have died. They've saved my life, and that's all I can say. So I'm going to talk about life as an inpatient and being detained under the Mental Health Act next week, and then we'll go from there. So thanks for listening, guys. And again, if you've got any questions, please feel free to subscribe and ask the question on this video, or like I said, add me on Facebook or message me on Facebook. It's Ben Robinson, and I'll respond to you as quick as I can. Alright then, see you later, bye.